R is a vector-based language, and consequently, the most fundamental data structure within R is a vector. Vectors are the most basic data object in R. Vectors fundamentally are a data structure that holds multiple elements. Vectors can hold single elements, but typically are set up to hold multiple data elements. Uh, the thing to keep in mind is that vectors can hold multiple data elements, but those data elements all have to be of the same type. Any operation performed to a vector or performed on a vector is applied to each element of the vector. There are no dimensions to a vector in the sense that there are no columns or rows. Vectors are basically a sequence of multiple data elements. To create a vector, all really one needs to do is assign a value to a variable. That is a vector. There are three examples that you can see in front of you. We have vector A, vector B, and vector C. Vector A is associated with one value, 3.414. Vector B is assigned a value of 10 to 20, and vector C is assigned values from 2000 to 2010. If one has multiple elements in a vector, one can access those individual elements using index positions starting at the number 1 going to the length of the vector. These numbers are present within square brackets, and so consequently one would have to specify the name of the vector and the position of the element that they would like to access within that vector. Again, positions are indicated as index values starting at 1 going to the length of the vector. To get the length of the vector, one has to use the length function. In this case, one would have to specify the vector one wants the length of, or the number of elements within the parentheses following length. Additionally, one can get the number of characters in a text-based vector using the nchar function. Vectors can have multiple operations performed on them. One can use simple arithmetic functions like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division on vectors. The important point to note is that these vectors have to be of the same length. Multiple different length vectors can also be combined, but please note that when working with different length vectors, the arithmetic operations will only be performed on part of the vector and not the whole vector.